Generosity. What is generosity? People say that generosity is having compassion and having love for others in our heart. Having compassion and having love for someone in our heart just doesn't make generosity. We have to put that love in action. We have to put that compassion in action. Generosity is love in action. If we just have compassion for others, love for others, goodness for others, that doesn't mean that we are generous. For us to be generous, we must act on the compassion, on the goodness, on the love that we have for others. The parable of the Good Samaritan, a very well-known parable to all of us. I'm sure this parable is very well-known. Now, in the parable of the Good Samaritan, Jesus tells us that a man is robbed and beaten and being put to death. A priest passes by, a Levite passes by, but both of them leaves him unnoticed. Now, a Samaritan passes by. He notices the man is being put to death. Now he tends to the man's wound and helps him. His compassion in his heart is being put into action. The love being put into action, which makes him a very generous person. Now, through this parable, we all can understand that generosity doesn't lie inside the boundaries of religion, caste, social status, gender, or any of those factors. It is far above all these factors. It is something that starts from within, and that within, when we put it into an action, that is generosity. Serving others is equivalent to serving Christ, and generosity has an eternal significance. This is what we can learn about generosity from the Bible. It doesn't take much to be generous. Small acts of kindness is enough for us to be generous. So in this Advent season, let us all try to be generous. Let us all, push ourselves a bit to being generous to other people. Not just having compassion in our heart, but by putting it into action. Whatever it is that we can do, even if it is the smallest and tiniest of things, let us all do it. Let us all be generous in this Advent season. Proverbs 11:25. A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. Now, when we uplift others with our generosity, not only that person will be uplifted, but also us. So the giver and the receiver receives the blessings from God. That is generosity. It is a very beautiful and a very powerful thing that we have in our hands that God has given us. It is a very powerful gift that God has given to all of us. So we must put it into use. Disciples asked Jesus, what is one thing that we can do to increase our faith? Give us something to increase our faith. And Jesus tells, you don't need anything to increase your faith. You must stand strong in the faith that you have. With the faith that you have, you must work on that instead of asking for more. So now with the gifts that we have, that is generosity, we must act on it. We must be faithful and act on generosity, help others, because serving others is equivalent to serving Christ. So now when God increases our blessings in our life, what must we do? We must be grateful, yes. We must be thankful, yes. But we must also serve others. We must be generous and raise our standard of giving. That is what God wants us to do. So in this Advent season, let us all be grateful for all the blessings that we have in our life, the good and bad, and raise our standard of giving. Let us be generous.